Tyler is taken over by AI. This year's Golden Globe winners and Pete and Joseph give their Oscar predictions.
Oh, it's time for class.
Class is in session!
Roll call! Bueller.
I'm gonna be late for class.
That's good. Bueller.
Am I hallucinating here? Just what in the hell do you think you're doing?
Late for shows.
You are mine now. You belong to me.
Did you study for the test?
No more complaining. No more Mr. Kimble to go to the bathroom. Nothing. There is no bathroom.
Hello, classmates, and welcome to Middle Class Film Class Gavin Chatter Edition. I'm your host today, Joseph.
I'm Peter.
And we got AI Tyler over there.
No.
The real Tyler did not stand up.
Yeah.
Or show up. For reasons of his own.
How dare you?
Chapa has a competition now.
My theory is that he is frantically saving as many TikTok movies as he can before the ban on the 19th.
Yeah, that's
because
right.
how else does he watch movies? How else will he watch the movies we review on the show?
How else is he going to watch The Brutalist in 900 1-minute segments?
So I believe that's what he's doing. He said there was
He has personal stuff.
car problems,
Mouse problems.
Yeah. But we're here, me and Pete.
Yeah, hi.
And so are you. Welcome everyone on YouTube Live and otherwise, and of course the OG audio only classmates in podcast land, audio land.
Yeah, podcast audio land.
Yes.
If you're only listening on the audio, you can't see AI Tyler, the glowing orb of light over there.
He's got Apple AI.
He's thinking
Constantly.
Yeah.
Someone who thinks has only just thoughts or something like that. But here we are once again, another week.
Yes. Welcome back to the studio.
A grim week.
Yeah.
In the state of California.
Oh yeah.
The fires are raging down in Southern California.
Usually we get hit in Northern California first with the fires.
Yeah.
And then we haven't really had any up here.
No, not really. They had a massive windstorm that really escalated the fire rapidly.
You know, it only takes one bad apple to light a fire, and then the wind takes everything and runs with it.
Yeah, so if any listeners, I know we have some fans and other listeners that may live in that area.
Yeah. Matt seems to be, he's safe. Greg Sersavasti, he's safe. But Greg had to evacuate. Him and his mom had to evacuate and leave their neighborhood, but they were allowed back in. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's crazy. What's going on down there? It's insane.
I know. It's wild. I mean, you think about California is kind of a desert scape naturally, and we import a lot of foliage and lush greenery to make it look better than it is naturally. I mean, it's great.
Especially Southern California.
Yes, specifically Southern California is big on that. So Arizona, you never hear about anything burning down because there's nothing to burn.
Yeah, there's nothing there.
Cactuses and rock.
Yeah. All these kind of fire resistant things down there, armadillos. And cacti of sorts, and just rock. Just rock and sand.
I know. Me and Erica Holmes were driving around LA when we went down there for the Film Vault Live episode, and he was looking at it. He goes, "That ain't native to here. I know they're importing this shit just to make it look better." And he's right. He's right.
Yeah, there's a lot of that down there, specifically. Up here, we got a lot of mountains and trees and stuff that can burn quite a bit. There's been quite a bit of fires up in Northern California for sure.
Yeah. Tyler, what do you think about the fires?
So
He's conflicted, I guess.
Yeah, everybody else who lives in the Midwest or the South or something, this is their thoughts on California right now. Fucking liberals.
Yeah, really.
this guy is a piece of shit. But yeah, rest in peace, I guess.
If California was a guy.
Yeah, except for you, Bruce. You're cool.
Yeah, Bruce is cool. Yeah.
And I think the only one in the chat right now. So.
Oh, what's up, Bruce?
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get into some cabin chatter.
Find some charity, you lad. Now's the time for Gavin chatter.
Gavin chatter, movie news, things to discuss that are movie related. Pete.
Yeah, we're just gonna do kind of
it's a loosey goosey show.
Yeah, we're gonna discuss, you and I. Really. First of all, we're gonna discuss. I gotta say, I love AI Tyler's look.
Yeah,
he looks like very menacing.
Yeah,
He's thinking. I hope we don't piss him off at one point.
To make him mad. It glows red.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh no, he's angry.
Don't make him mad.
Yeah.
You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
So we're gonna talk just a little bit about the Golden Globes and how who's the winners, who's the losers, that sort of a thing.
Who came out on top?
Yeah, who came out on top?
Justified and unjustified.
Who's the big comedy musical winner of the night?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go over some of the winners. We're just gonna kind of give some broad reactions. Some of these movies, a lot of these movies I haven't seen yet, so I feel bad commenting on them, but it is my duty, yet uninformed, to still discuss it.
Uninformed movie opinions.
Yeah, that is the internet in a nutshell. All right, so best, and the Golden Globes is a little different than the Oscars. Well, they'll break things up in a weird way.
Yeah, it encompasses TV and movies.
Yeah, it's got TV too. So Shogun, no surprise, getting a lot of love here. But the kind of the high, I think the high sort of honor of the night went to the best drama motion picture for The Brutalist.
Yeah.
Directed by Brady Corbett.
Just 3-hour architecture epic.
3.5.
Yeah.
It's like 3:24.
Crazy.
Joseph and I were talking about before we started rolling today, going and seeing that because neither of our significant others have any desire to sit through a movie like that.
Yeah, a Holocaust survivor movie
Turned
about
architect.
architecture.
Yeah.
Also starring Adrian Brody, who played a different World War II survivor.
Yeah, in The Pianist that we covered.
Now, first he was the pianist.
Yeah.
Pianist?
Now he's that brutalist.
Yeah. This is what happened after.
So yeah, I'm excited to see it.
I am too.
I'll watch it in theaters, and it's got a proper intermission, so you can go drain yourself halfway through.
Wonderful. I'm glad. I'm happy about that.
I'm going to talk about another movie that has an intermission later in my streaming picks.
Oh, okay.
And then best musical or comedy motion picture, Emilia Perez,
Yes.
Netflix's own, about a transgender something or other. It's like, I don't know if it's like about the transition or her life afterwards or the struggles or whatever.
Yeah. Who is Emilia Perez?
Yeah, it says, let's look. A Mexican lawyer is offered an unusual job to help a notorious cartel boss retire and transition into living as a woman, fulfilling his long-held desire. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was a cartel boss. That's kind of cool. What do you think about Emilia Perez?
I haven't watched it. I've only seen reactions and heard reactions and seen clips of what looks like probably one of the most ridiculous movies ever. Has taken acclaim and taken home awards for best comedy and musical at the Golden Globes.
And it is a straight up musical. Like everybody's singing everything all the time.
Yeah, and the songs that I've seen just seems like I'm being pranked.
It seems like a joke.
It feels like a joke because the lyrics are just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the backlash that I've heard has come from the people that they represent in the movie, Mexicans and transgender people.
Oh, interesting.
And so like I have a sort of pre-chip on my shoulder going into it because it was made by a French filmmaker, Jacques Audiard, who didn't do any research into Mexican culture, didn't even go to Mexico to film this movie. And it just seems like there's a level of disrespect when it comes to this movie.
I think it's weird that the main character's significant other's name is Speedy Gonzalez too.
Yeah.
It's weird they did that.
And, I've heard a lot of criticism over Selena Gomez's Spanish because she doesn't speak Spanish. And also Zoe Saldana now.
Apparently now it's Saldana.
Yeah, after she does this role.
I mean, I can respect that though, dropping the tilde
Yeah.
to basically just make it a hard end so you can, be a little bit more easily accessible for people in Hollywood. I didn't know she was fluent in Spanish.
I don't know if she was either before this movie. But what was the actor who only learned Spanish or
Ron Perlman, who learned French for shitty lost children.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like there's a responsibility for us to watch it.
I'm going to.
Much to my chagrin, I will watch it.
And I'll go in with an open mind, but I've heard the same things, is that a lot of the people who are either advocates for the LGBT community or just the T community, or advocates for, or actual, basically people that are either of the community or advocates for the community are saying essentially the same thing. It's like, they're constantly like misgendering people, and
There's like some sort of insensitive nature to it.
a lot of insensitivity to it, which is interesting because like everybody tries to be, I mean, not everybody, but for the most part, like you and I and a lot of people will try to be sensitive to things that we're not privy to. Like I don't know enough about that community because I'm not part of that community. You know, I have friends in the LGBT community, but really no trans friends. You know, it's not as large of a population as you might think. So exposure is not necessarily inherent from just everyday life. But as you start getting movies like I Saw the TV Glow or Emilia Perez that essentially either are heavily thematically leaning towards the trans community or specifically about it, it's like, is me being upset about it because it seems wrong from what I've learned matter, or does it really matter from what the people are saying?
Yeah, and I've mainly been listening to the other people. Like they say, the people that I've seen online and friends who are Mexican and are part of the like LGBT community are like, yeah, don't watch it.
So it's bad.
So I'm going into it with that in mind and like not trying to have a bias watching it, but at the same time,
It's hard to avoid it.
there might be like inclusivity in the movie.
Sure.
But there's still like an insensitive nature on another level.
I usually give things like that a benefit of the doubt because it's like you can't be perfect. It's like one bad scene in a movie doesn't make a movie bad. So watching the clips of ridiculous scenes of like songs that are being sung, I'm like, okay, well, I mean that could just be the one song.
And then I heard the other one.
But we'll see. Yeah, but we'll see. So I've also have friends from gay friends that are watching the movie and think, oh, this is great. You know, this is fantastic. So again, we'll watch it and we'll see what happens. But best musical or comedy, Emilia Perez. Zoe Saldana also won Best Supporting Actress for that movie. Adrian Brody won Best Actor in a Drama for The Brutalist. And the big shock was Demi Moore winning Best Actress in a Musical or Comedy Motion Picture for The Substance.
Yeah, that comedy.
Yeah.
I mean,
it is funny.
Yeah.
I mean, you haven't seen it yet, right?
No, I haven't watched it.
Oh my gosh. It's so over the top, you have to laugh. Kieran Culkin, Best Supporting Actor for in any motion picture.
Supporting actor, yeah.
Yes, Best Supporting Actor. Flo for Best Animated Feature Film, which is really interesting, and Bruce loves Flo. Bruce is a huge advocate of Flo. Hi, Heather, by the way, in the chat. Thanks for coming. I've heard some backlash about Flo winning because the animation is not as supposedly impressive as some like big studio ones.
Really?
Yeah.
It looks impressive. From the outside, anyway.
I've seen like specific scenes where they're basically saying, a lot of it has to do with water and you don't really see the animals going into the water. It's almost like they stand on like bad rendering on a video game,
Oh, okay.
Like Pixar, the water feels like water.
Yeah.
But this was all created and rendered in an open source graphic rendering software.
Oh.
Like this is done by independents. This is an independent film. So
They made it in MS Paint.
Yeah. They probably made it in, I don't know what, but
Adobe Flash.
But it's, I think that the movie has much more than just either, this is best animated film doesn't mean the best animated, the best film that is animated, like the best animation in a film.
The best animation of an animated film.
Yeah, it's the best overall film.
Yeah.
So theme, characters, interactions, and whether or not something's rendered photorealistic doesn't necessarily mean it make it better or worse. So again, another movie I haven't seen, can't wait to see. Best screenplay, Conclave. That seems like right up my alley. Best actor in a musical, comedy, or film, Sebastian Stan for A Different Man. Viola Davis won the Cecil B. DeMille Award. That's pretty cool. It's kind of like a lifetime achievement. Brady Corbett won for The Brutalist for Best Director. Wicked won for Best Box Office and Cinematic Achievement. Yeah, it's like most money made.
It's weird. The other nominees, because like these are the winners, right? For like nominees for drama, motion picture, Brutalist, which won, Complete Unknown, Conclave, Nickel Boys, September 5th. Never even heard of that. And I believe he was not. Denis was nominated for
Best director.
director.
I don't. Do they don't do special effects? Best effects?
I don't think so.
I don't think it's in the Golden Globes. I don't think they do that.
No, he wasn't even nominated.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we have Betty Corbett, Corley Fargiat, Edward Berger, Sean Baker, the French Jacques Audiard for Emilia, and then Pael Capadia for All We Imagine Is Light, foreign film.
Yeah.
And then Gladiator 2 for cinematic and box office achievement. That was nominated.
I guess it made a bunch of money.
Alien Romulus, I was like the R-rated premiere, right? It won, or it beat a record or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
Inside Out 2, and then Wicked 1. Beetlejuice, Wild Robot, Twisters.
Those are a cinematic achievement. That's what it was?
Yeah.
Box office cinematic
Those were the
achievement.
nominated.
Yeah, interesting.
Ted Danson won the Carol Burnett Award.
Yeah, now we're talking.
I think he was the only nominee.
I don't think they nominate people.
Okay.
It's just like you're appointed this.
Yeah.
It's like a lifetime achievement sort of thing. And then best original score, no surprise to Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross for Challengers.
Yeah, that's fitting. That's
I know a lot of people didn't like that for that movie. Like it didn't fit
Really?
the movie, but I thought it was
I
great.
thought it was pretty fitting.
I was like, oh, great, a tennis movie. And then that score comes in. I'm like,
Great,
yeah,
a tennis movie.
fucking yes.
It's like a quarter of a sports movie, and then 3/4 of like a love, like maybe gay romance love triangle.
Love triangle, gay romance, all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the Golden Globes. Some interesting stuff. I honestly like as more so than like the actual films, because you get the list and you see who wins this and that or whatever. Who was it that walked out? Someone walked out.
Luca,
Yeah, Luca Guadagnino.
because it lost to
to Emilia Perez.
Yeah, he like
Challengers lost. Which I haven't seen Emilia Perez, but it seems like a shame.
Justified.
Yeah. Challengers is so good.
Yeah, I mean, because you have Luca, like a queer director,
Yeah.
losing to a movie that is like directed by somebody
Outside of the community.
directing like a queer movie,
Yeah.
which is
Outside of the culture, directing a different culture too.
yeah, it's so bizarre. Justified in my opinion.
Yeah. I just like the balls on him that he's just like,
Fuck this place.
I'm out. Gone. He just walked out, shook a bunch of hands on the way out and is fucking gone.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah, and I like Luca's movies a lot. I think I can't even think of any movies that I haven't seen. I haven't watched Queer.
Bones and All?
Bones and All is great.
Okay. Haven't seen that one yet.
Call Me by Your Name is great. And
Yeah. Suspiria remake.
Suspiria is fantastic. Challengers is really good.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's done anything before.
I think he has. I think there's some stuff
That
in there that
yeah.
I've never seen, never heard of.
But yeah, the four that I've seen, the four that have been in everybody's view, have been great. And I'm excited to see The Brutalist because from a like cinematography standpoint and the way it was filmed with VistaVision, I think is
What is that, VistaVision?
it's like instead of standard film, the film goes upwards. Like it go like 35 millimeter, 65 millimeter goes upwards. VistaVision goes horizontally.
Oh.
And it's like it's like a wider spectrum of view.
Oh.
It's
Interesting. Like a wide field of view or something?
Yeah, and I know like Hitchcock used VistaVision.
Interesting. I've heard the name. I just don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's a very old timey way of filming stuff.
It says on Wikipedia, it says it's a higher resolution widescreen variant of 35 millimeter format that was created by engineers at Paramount in 1954. Paramount did not use anamorphic process such as CinemaScope, but refined the quality of its flat widescreen system by orienting the 35 millimeter negative horizontally in the camera gate and shooting onto a larger area, which yielded a finer grained projection print.
Yeah, so
That's
it's just
cool.
higher quality film
Interesting.
that move because like in a film camera, like a photography camera, the film moves horizontally.
Yeah.
So it's like that, but movie.
And when you think of film reels, you always think of it spinning this way.
Yeah.
And going in front of the camera, up and down.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, and I know they didn't shoot all of it in VistaVision, but they did shoot a lot of it in that.
It says, in many ways, VistaVision was a testing ground for cinematography ideas that evolved into 70mm IMAX and OmniMax film formats in the 70s. Both IMAX and OmniMax are oriented sideways, as is VistaVision.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So yeah, I'm excited to to watch that movie.
Do you know who Brady Corbett is?
I know he directed Vox Lux,
Vox Lux.
which I heard was not very good.
He's an actor.
Is he an actor?
Do you remember? Have you seen Funny Games, the American
Yes.
one?
Yeah.
So Michael Pitt is the blonde guy that you recognize.
Oh, he's the friend.
He's the other one.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
the
he's-
shorter one.
Yeah, he's also blonde, kind of shaggy hair, kind of
That's funny.
very standard looking white guy.
Yeah.
He is. That's the dude.
That's
him.
funny.
Yeah.
I know he's only done like 2 other movies.
It's almost like Osgood Perkins turning into this big director when he's the weird sidekick nerd friend from Legally Blonde.
Yeah. And I like Osgood Perkins. I know it's a tangent now.
Yeah.
But like Osgood Perkins, like I liked Longlegs a lot. But every like interview I see of him, he just seems like such a pretentious douchebag.
Yeah.
And Brady Corbett a little bit as well. But and I haven't seen any of his movies. So
The stuff I've seen from Brady Corbett seems a little bit more grounded because he specifically is calling out like Hollywood for these gigantic, ridiculous, big budget movies. He's like, I made The Brutalist for like, I was 35 million or something like that.
yeah.
Let's see, Brutalist budget.
Let's see.
9.6 million.
Yeah, very budget.
Made it for 9.6 million, and he's like, it's a 3.5 hour movie. It's large scale. We shot it on whatever that is called, VistaVision.
Yeah.
And there's almost no CG in the entire thing. It's just good planning and a solid plot or
They
whatever.
filmed in Hungary,
Yeah.
or Budapest, and it's supposed to take place in Philly.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's
It's
interesting.
supposed to take place in Philadelphia.
So, yeah, I it's interesting to see that sort of stuff. But yeah, Oz Perkins seems like a little insane.
Yeah,
But he is the son of Anthony Perkins, who also was a little insane.
we all go a little crazy sometimes. Right?
Yeah. So, what do you have, Joseph?
Well, now we're in the in-between phase of
Yeah.
the Golden Globes and the Oscars, and the Oscar nominees aren't out yet, and they've been delayed. The voting's been delayed because of the fires, so I don't know exactly when we'll hear them. We normally hear them like end of January, February-ish, because the Oscars are usually in March, I think. So we have some, just like predictions, and like, it's like with me and predictions, it's more like hope.
So yeah, there's a difference between who you think is going to win or nominated
and who you want to
and
win.
who you want to win. Yeah, exactly. So
I mean, who I want to be nominated is Denis Villeneuve, and who I want to win is Denis Villeneuve. If not for like Best Picture, I can see it not winning.
it will not win.
Dune Part 2.
It just can't. It's not that type of movie.
But it's so good. Anyway, Denis though, I feel like he just like, I just feel like it's
He's locked in.
I feel like he deserves it.
Yeah.
Then that's just how I feel.
You sound like all the people that wanted Scorsese to win for years, and he never did
Yeah.
until I think it was.
And there's a bias there for me.
What was Scorsese's one he won for? Was The Departed? Best Picture
Yeah, maybe.
or Best Director? I mean,
Maybe, yeah. I can't remember. But I mean, we have, let's see, Best Director, Brady Corbett, Denis, Edward Berger, Ridley Scott. I don't think he should even be in the running at all. Sean Baker. I wouldn't mind if he won. Honora is really good. And he's a really good director, I think. He makes really realistic stories. And I think he has a really really strong passion for filmmaking ever since like Tangerine, and I felt like he was like borderline homeless when he was making that movie.
yeah. He feels like a very very grounded
Rags
filmmaker.
to riches. John M. Chu for Wicked. I don't know. I haven't seen Wicked.
which by all accounts is supposed to be great, even for non-Wicked fans.
Non-Broadway, non-Wicked Wizard of Oz. I guess like fanatics. Edward Berger for Conclave. I don't know. I don't have any.
We're looking up right now. If you guys wanted to follow along and kind of get an idea, you can just Google Oscar odds, Academy Award odds, and there's websites that have basically like betting odds.
Yeah.
And The Brutalist is right now favored to win by not a ton, but an amount.
It's in the lead right now. It's favored.
Amelia Perez is second lead, which is insane to me. But I guarantee that jumped up because it won for Golden Globes.
Yeah. I mean, if Brady Corbett wins, I feel like just based on everything I've seen online about the movie and him, I feel like there will be a big backlash. It'll be polarizing.
You think so?
I think so, yeah.
Why is that?
Just because of his reception and ever since he did the directors on directors thing, and they like took clips of his interview and him talking about like, why do Marvel movies get 3-hour movies, but we have to wrap our adult dramas into 90 minutes?
Yeah, I think that's perfect for the Academy Awards.
Yeah,
that's the exactly sort of stuffy nature that they like.
Yeah, Denis, I feel like I will riot if he doesn't win.
You're gonna riot.
Riot of one.
If Dune Part 2 doesn't win.
If Ridley Scott's nominated, I will also riot because the movie is trash.
That's not a good movie.
No. And like he's not even in his prime anymore.
No.
And he's had like
he should have been nominated for director for the last duel.
That was the last
duel.
Yeah. That was the last good movie they put out. In my opinion,
that's only like 2 years ago.
I know.
It's crazy to think. Like I feel like
we did House of Gucci, and then he did what he did after House of Gucci, Napoleon.
Yeah,
which was boring.
Ridley's got more bangers in his catalog than most directors have in their catalog. Period.
Mm-hmm.
But he also has a ton of misses as well.
Yeah. But for movie, I guess The Brutalist is very high in contention.
Feels like an Oscar movie. It feels like an Oscar Best Picture winner movie.
Yeah, it does. That very like, and it'll be the movie that everybody will say that nobody's watched.
Yeah, exactly. Another movie that no one watched. Well,
yeah.
To be fair, it got a really limited release.
Yeah, really, really limited.
I've never even heard of the Nickel Boys. That's 8th in the top for the running of Best Picture.
Yeah, I've heard about it. I know nothing about it.
I literally know nothing.
And Nora, I don't think it's best. I don't know if it's Best Picture quality, but I think it deserves to be in the category. Amelia Perez, I can't say, but just from the outside, I feel like it's kind of an insult to be in there.
We'll comment again after we watch it.
Yeah,
I'll watch. How about this? I'll commit to watching it this week, and we can talk about it next week.
Yeah, well,
can you do that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, let's do it. How about actor and director, or actor and actress? What do you got?
See, actor Adrian Brody, Ralph Fiennes, Sebastian Stan, Jesse Eisenberg.
Why do they have his name spelled Ralph on here?
That's how it's spelled.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah,
you're right.
It's just Rafe. For some
reason.
In
In my head, it was the opposite. It was spelled a different way and pronounced Ralph.
Oh. Sebastian Stan on here twice.
Oh wow!
For The Apprentice and Different Man.
Yeah, there's no way he's gonna get nominated for The Apprentice.
Yeah, I heard nothing about the movie. I don't know if it was good or bad.
I've heard not great.
Different Man, I heard was good though.
The real life guy that's in it, Adam Pearson.
Yeah,
I follow him on Twitter. He's kind of a fascinating guy.
Yeah,
really interesting.
Timothée Chalamet for Complete Unknown.
Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing. I love Coleman Domingo. I hope he wins something one day, if not for Sing Sing.
I feel like he was nominated in another movie for an Oscar that the movie wasn't good, but he was good.
Was it?
Well, I don't know.
Was it that one with the strippers? Zola?
No, it wasn't that. It was like, I don't know if it was last year or the year before.
I'll look it up.
Daniel Craig for Queer. I've heard he was good in that. I mean, I would guess. I mean, it's hard. I'm looking at the odds, the odd checker or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like Adrian Brody's favored, and I feel like that's kind of correct, just based on the dramatic nature of the role and the movie.
He was nominated for Rustin, which came out 2023.
Rustin.
And I don't know anything about that either. It's also a Netflix movie. On select theaters November, and on Netflix November 17th of 2024. 23, sorry. It's a civil rights era movie. Interesting.
I mean, who do you think out of these movies that you've seen every single one of them?
Yeah. I think it'd be strange to have Chalamet, but I wouldn't be surprised. Like for whatever reason, the Oscars really love music biopics.
Yeah, because it's a Hollywood adjacent.
Yeah, it's like stroking the ego of a famous person.
Yeah.
in entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ralph Fiennes he's been like on the edge of not like winning an Academy Award for a long time. I don't know if he's
had a lot of great roles just in general, and it could be like a Leo thing where they just finally give it to him.
Yeah, could be.
If anything, he should have been nominated for In Bruges. I don't know if he was or wasn't.
His part's too small for that.
But he's fantastic.
He's been nominated for 2 Oscars, never won.
Oh, okay. English Patient is one of them.
I would imagine so. Yeah, English Patient and Schindler's List, of course. Makes sense.
I got nominated for playing a Nazi.
He could do. He could win for Conclave. Again, haven't seen that. You said it's on Hulu?
Peacock.
Okay, I'm gonna watch that this week too.
Yeah.
I would imagine probably Rafe or Adrian.
Yeah.
That seems like a lock for me. Actress.
We got Demi Moore, Mikey Madison from Nora.
Wait, Demi Moore? That's my pick.
Fernando Torres, I'm Still Here, which is that the same name of the Joaquin Phoenix movie?
I think so.
The mockumentary?
I think so, yeah.
Angelina Jolie for Maria. Marion Jean Baptiste.
Maria? Angelina Jolie for Maria?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was thinking Mary, the Mother Mary movie that Tyler Stream picked last week.
Cynthia Erivo for Wicked. Carla Sofia Gasson for Emily Perez. And Nicole Kidman for Baby Girl.
Demi Moore is the favorite, and then Mikey Madison.
Yeah, Madison.
Yeah. I haven't seen Nora. You have. You said it was great. I saw Substance, and I said it was great. I think her performance is really good in The Substance. It's a physical performance, and it is an emotional one.
Yeah.
But I think it might be too over the top and
weird,
cartoonish at times. I'm not even including like all the FX work and stuff. There's a couple scenes where she's starting to kind of look like an old crone, and she's going over the top, and it is really good, and it's played for laughs, so it's very funny. But I think it's just too much. Yeah, I mean, it's a movie like that getting the recognition, at least The Substance, and the Cinema is back.
The insane nature of it.
Ever since Everything Everywhere All at Once won Best Picture, we've opened the door for weirdos to win, which I'm on board with.
Yeah.
Best Director?
Director Denis Villeneuve is I think
he's not that far off. He's third listed.
I feel like he should win, and I feel like he will win. And you can put $1 on that.
Put $1 on it. All right.
You could take that to the bank.
I know that Wicked is not. Wicked's more gonna be like up in for like production design and costume design and stuff, and obviously music. Yeah, musical song, original song, or whatever. But I don't know if it has original songs. I don't know if they reuse the songs from the Broadway play.
Oh yeah, I don't know what the parameters really are for music and like qualifies, because Hans Zimmer's score was rejected for the Golden Globes or for the Oscars.
Rejected for the Oscars because it's too similar to the first one.
It's bullshit.
It's the same song.
It's not.
He got nominated.
There are similar songs.
Just gonna keep releasing. John Williams wins best score for Empire Strikes Back. Same fucking song. Imperial March.
There's definitely at least a different song in that movie.
The chord change goes up instead of down in the bridge.
No, there's a completely different song. Kieran Culkin won the Golden Globe for Real Pain.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about that. Denzel Washington being second favorite is insane.
Yeah.
He's fun in that movie, but it's not great.
He's certainly maybe a redeeming quality of an otherwise terrible movie.
Yeah, that's my favorite part.
Guy Pearce for The Brutalist. Yura Borisov, the main, I guess.
He's her love interest in that one.
No, he's like one of the Russian
bodyguards or whatever.
Goons, and they have a very kind of tumultuous and hilarious relationship.
Interesting. Tucci and Jeremy Strong are both nominated, which is cool because they're so similar.
Are they? Oh yeah, in appearance.
I saw somebody say, if you want a gay character, you cast Stanley Tucci. If you want a menacing character, you cast Jeremy Strong.
Oh yeah,
it's
Jeremy Strong is British, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
he's in the Kingsman.
He has the Archie slap from Rock and Rolla.
Don't know what that is.
Yeah, he plays Archie, and he has the Archie slap where he backhands you.
Oh, okay, I believe you.
Edward Norton for A Complete Unknown. Clarence Macklin, I don't know who that is, for Sing Sing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, again, the only movie I've seen here is Honora and Gladiator 2. And I feel like Yura Borisov did a better job than Denzel did.
I usually have seen at least half of these movies when we're doing these predictions, and I feel like I've seen like 2.
Yeah.
And I watched a lot of movies in theater last year. I had the Regal Pass.
The Pass.
Yeah, and I still didn't see half of these things.
Are there more? Oh.
Last one, Best Supporting Actress.
Not listed here.
Ariana Grande, Zoe Saldana
right here.
is top lead, top bill.
Felicity Jones, Selena Gomez, 2 for Emilia Perez. Come on. Ariana Grande, Danielle Deadweiler.
Ooh, that's a cool name.
The piano lesson, Isabella Rossellini, Conclave, Saoirse Ronan for Blitz, and Ingenue Ellis Taylor for Nickel Boys. Yeah, I don't know.
Ingenue Ellis Taylor. Is that Aaron Taylor Johnson's wife?
No, his last name is Taylor Johnson.
I know, but Taylor. Okay, it's not her.
No.
I know her
name is Sam Taylor Johnson.
Oh, okay.
And she's a creep.
So I've heard.
I don't know. I will say
Ariana Grande for Wicked. That's my pick.
Okay. I'll say Danielle Deadweiler because I like her last name.
We're gonna have to. We got some catching up to do. I gotta watch Wicked. See, this is where I make my missed list. Is I see these nominations, and these aren't even the nominations. These are just like the betting odds.
Yeah,
Vegas betting.
None
odds.
of these movies could be nominated.
Correct. So, anyway,
we got The People's Joker up for Best
really?
Picture.
What? Oh, okay. Never mind.
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's those are our loosey goosey Oscar predictions.
Yeah.
So let's move on to some stream picks.
Movies.
Wanna watch a movie?
Yes, I do.
Disney Plus, HBO Max.
If I don't get the pick, show's over.
I have grown accustomed to Hulu Plus.
Amazon Prime.
I like Netflix.
You found the pick.
Stream picks. Movies that we watched on our streaming services, and we'll recommend or not recommend you watch them as well, or something.
Yeah.
Pete.
Okay, so I mentioned some movies last week, and I never end up paying them off. So some of these I watched 2 weeks ago, but that's okay. First off, I watched a movie that I'd never seen, never even heard of it before, starring Seth Rogen and what is her name? Charlize Theron. Do you know what this movie is? It's from 2019. You ever heard of a movie that the two of them star in together?
Maybe. Oh, wait. I feel like I did.
You know what it is?
It's like...
You know what it's about?
The Long Shot.
Long Shot. That's
yeah.
it. Yeah, I never heard of it before. We're looking... Brianna's scrolling through. I'm playing Minecraft on my Switch, and Brianna's scrolling through whatever to find a movie. We stop on Hulu. She puts on Long Shot. I'm like, Long Shot? Isn't it that documentary about that guy
to do with basketball?
It was baseball. The guy gets acquitted for murder because he was seen in the background of a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode shot at LA Dodgers Stadium.
That's funny.
And it's like they acquitted him because he had an alibi. He had an alibi. They found the footage in the background, and he was there with his son, and
they filmed it on that day.
Game was not filmed at that game. Was confirmed, but not that. This is called Long Shot from 2019, streaming on Hulu. Like I said, this is starring Charlize Theron, Seth Rogen, O'Shea Jackson Jr. That's Cube Jr.
Ice Cube.
Andy Serkis, Ravi Patel, Bob Odenkirk, Alexander Skarsgård.
Oh.
Big names. Randall Park, Lisa Kudrow, Kurt Braunohler, Paul Scheer. A ton of people in this. Yeah, Lil Yachty's in it for a second.
Oh.
So the plot synopsis says... journalist Fred Flarsky reunites with his childhood crush Charlotte Field, now one of the most influential women in the world. She's Secretary of State. As she prepares to make a run for the presidency, Charlotte hires Fred as her speechwriter, much to the dismay of her trusted advisors. So Seth Rogen plays basically, he's like a journalist, blogger type guy, and he's playing a version of himself, a kind of a washed up sort of rough around the edges Jewish guy, and he like in one of the very beginning scenes he embeds himself in like a KKK sort of like into their society, and he's basically doing an expose on us. And at some point, they're like, hey, man, you said you wanted to go get a swastika tattoo. Come on over, we're doing tattoos. And he's like, all right, let's do it. And he starts getting a swastika tattoo before someone pulls up a picture of him and say, hey, isn't this you? And it's a, journalist, undercover journalist, wins award or whatever. And he goes, oh, no, I get that all the time. Guy looks just like me. And then...
Is that your Seth Rogen?
Yeah, kind of.
God, we don't have Tyler to do a Seth Rogen impression.
That's all I have.
That's close. I think it needs to be a little bit more like raspy.
Yeah. Maybe after the end of the episode, my voice is raspy from talking for 2.5 hours. It'll be better.
Yeah.
But so that's who his character is, and he gets fired from his job because some corporation is taking over the media landscape. And Bob Odenkirk plays he's the president, sitting president. He's an actor
of the U.S.
Of the U.S.
Oh.
And he's the acting president, and he is a TV star. And he wants to make his way into movies. Mm-hmm. So he's not running for re-election after his first term. Mm-hmm. Instead, his Secretary of State, played by Charlize Theron, is going to run for presidency, and she wants his endorsement. Well, she has ethics and morals, but she's been in Washington for long enough to where some of those are being eroded for the greater good in her mind. And Seth Rogen knows her from the childhood and is basically like, you wanted to save the world back then, and you still want to do it, As long as you're not a phony piece of shit, I'll come be your speechwriter. And he's a really good writer, and so he basically writes her speeches and punches up her image and this and that, brings her more down to earth while she brings him more professionalism.
Oh, okay.
Kind of the mentality of it. And then it turns into a love story, and they kind of fall for each other.
Oh.
An unlikely love story, but, it's that's how it works, It's almost always a dumpy guy and a gorgeous woman, not the other way around in Hollywood.
Okay.
So... but I guess that makes sense because girls are way more attractive than guys are in general. So
guys are just repulsive amoebas.
We're bringing down the curve in a big way.
Yeah.
So anyways, it's really, I was surprisingly enjoyed this movie. I didn't think I was going to like it much at all because I never heard of it before. I never heard any buzz about it. Mm-hmm. And it's like kind of follows like the mainstream comedy landscape of that like era, maybe a 2015 and up comedies. But it's not a Judd Apatow movie. It's directed by Jonathan Levine, who did Warm Bodies, 50-50, The Night Before, the Dirty Dancing sequel. He's that's coming up. It hasn't been released yet.
Oh, okay.
And a couple other ones too. But this was really good. This is a very fun and really well written movie. Mm-hmm. The comedy chops are really good. It's worth your time. So this is streaming on Hulu. A lot of fun going into it and just enjoy yourself. Don't take it so seriously. The next movie I watched is a remake that I had no interest in watching whatsoever.
A remake?
Yes. And did I talk about this in Speak No Evil last week?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think I watched it the night after that we recorded.
Okay.
That same night. So the original Speak No Evil is Danish, I believe. Let's see. Speak No Evil.
Yeah.
2022.
Or Nordic.
Yeah, let's see here. Directed by Christian Taftrup.
Sounds like Norway.
Taftrup. Yeah, let's see.
Sounds like Norway.
Yes,
it could be.
And written by Mads Taftrup. Let's see here. Born in Denmark. Okay, so it's Danish.
Okay.
So the original one is like a bleak fucking movie.
Yes, it is.
Really bleak.
Yeah.
And it's
frustrating.
It is frustrating, and it's divisive because
of the decisions.
Yeah. The entire time you're watching it and you're going, what the fuck are you doing? Just save the thing. Just get out of there. Don't go back for the bunny. Yeah. And you're doing all you're like shouting at the screen at these shitty decisions of these people. And the whole like mentality, the whole like kind of thought process behind the movie is like it's pushing the boundaries of like how far being polite, like the niceties of the world will get.
How nice is too nice?
More or less. And the whole plot is that there's a family, it's a husband and wife and a young daughter, and they're vacationing in Italy. And this is the same for both movies. And they run into another couple who's a husband and wife, and they have a young boy, and they have fun together. They have dinner while they're on vacation. They exchange numbers. And then once the main family goes back to London or whatever, they get a postcard and they're like, hey, it was great time. You know, we should catch up again. If you ever want to get away, come to our cottage in, you know, Ireland or whatever. In this one, it's Ireland.
Yeah.
And they decide to go out there and vacation, essentially, like a mini vacation with this family they fucking don't know.
Yeah, they met once.
In the middle of nowhere on this secluded home.
Mm-hmm.
And when they get there, the husband and wife duo are essentially like, it's almost Funny Games-esque, but with a much slower progression.
Showing the uncomfortable. Things get more and more uncomfortable as it goes on.
Yes.
I'm just basing it off the original. I haven't seen the remake.
So I seen the original and Brianna had not. I told her she would hate it. I watched it while she was in the room. I was watching it on my laptop with headphones on, and the whole time I'm just like looking at her like
the original.
Oh, okay. I'm like, this is not for you, because I got a screener for it, and she read some of the stuff about it. And she's like, I don't know if that's gonna be something I like. Maybe you watch it and let me know if I like it. And as soon as I was done, I'm like, that was bleak. That ending was bleak.
Mm-hmm.
This one turns more into. It takes that same concept and a lot of the same parallels. Like I'd say probably an hour's worth of the movie is almost identical.
Mm-hmm.
Same setup, same uncomfortable scenarios, same pushing the boundaries of, you know, you shouldn't talk to my daughter like that. Stop parenting my daughter. You know, want to parent your own son, and then they do, and then they don't like the way they parent the son, and then you're not sure about the dynamics of the family, and are they dangerous? Are they unhinged? And then the kid is trying to constantly say something, but he can't talk because he's got this deformity or whatever. And then you realize that maybe that's not all true. So all that's true is all the same. Even the bunny. You leave the bunny, they come back to the bunny, they come back to the house.
So it's still a bunny?
It's still a bunny.
Okay.
Only this time the bunny has an app. It's like a breathing app, and the daughter's got like severe anxiety, and she can't cope without her bunny.
They put more weight on the bunny.
On the bunny, yeah.
Yeah.
Once you reach the third act and like shit's blown wide open and it turns into a more psychotic, actiony movie rather than a tense, depressing tragedy. So it becomes a popcorn movie at that point, where there's guns and fighting and action and home invasions, and you're like, well, okay, none of this happened in the original version. So this is way, way, way more accessible, and I really liked it.
Okay.
So this is streaming on Peacock.
Not quite as bleak.
No, nowhere near as bleak.
Oh, okay.
Nowhere near as bleak. It's got a Hollywood third act.
Okay.
And
so you got two flavors of the same story.
Yes, it's funny because like I had no interest in watching it because number one, I didn't love the first one. I didn't want to resubmit myself to that same bleakness.
Mm.
But part of me was like, I mean, it's McAvoy. He doesn't miss. He almost never misses. He's always great. And that role that he's playing is more of an openly unhinged person versus the original seems like a normal guy who's just doing crazy things.
Yeah.
In this version, you can see it on his face. You can see like the craziness in his eyes when he's trying to hold back. You know?
Okay.
So
I liked the original, and I especially liked that the dad, the crazy guy, crazy dad. I liked the Danish actor's performance a lot because he was very like subtle and unhinged definitely more towards the end. And then I feel like the reveal of like their kid was more, at least for me, it was hidden more. So when it gets revealed, it's more of like, whereas this one, I feel like they kind of revealed a lot in the trailer as far as the plot points go.
There's also some really bleak stuff with that kid in the first one that's very different in it here.
Yeah, really?
It's actually more satisfying in this one. So
okay.
If you have seen the original and you loved it, like you absolutely loved it, maybe you're not going to you're going to say, oh, they lost the charm.
It might be like, they cheapened it.
Yeah, exactly. They took the edge off of it.
Yeah.
But if you watch the original and you're like, that was just too much, man. I'm feeling in a bad space right now. I need to go pet my dog.
It is because there's no redemption.
It's a downward. It's like
it's down and down, and you're just waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
And then
Dante's Inferno. You're in the seventh circle of hell, and you're like, is there an eighth one?
Mm-hmm.
We're going all the way down. And that final scene of the original was just like, fuck. Really? They just stand there. In this one, it's satisfying. The redemption on a like cosmic level of those characters it actually ties to the original finale, even though the result is very different. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
So it's streaming on Peacock. I would recommend it, regardless of if you've seen the original or not. Next movie I watched, I did a guest spot on Close Watch, which is a Crooked Tables production podcast. It's a Robert Yanez Jr. does Close Watch and Franchise Detours, 2 different shows on the network. And Franchise Detours is like they cover every movie within a franchise, and they're in the middle of their Rocky one. I did Rocky 5 as a guest spot like a month ago.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe 2 months ago, maybe for them, because I loved Rocky 5. And I know that's an unusual take. So he's doing on Close Watch is basically deep diving into one specific genre or one type of movie. And this one they're doing classic musicals. So I went on and talked about Fiddler on the Roof with him. I won't spend a whole lot of time with it, but I revisited it just for that show. Mm-hmm. It's streaming on Hoopla, Kanopy, Pluto, Roku, and Tubi, and it is just one of the greatest of all time, in my opinion. The character of Tevye, played by Topol, is just so fucking charismatic. It's so good. The music is good. Music's been stuck in my head for the last week, and it's streaming for free on all those places. So go watch Fiddler on the Roof if you haven't. And if you haven't watched our episode of that or listened to our episode of that, go back to the stream and just look through for Fiddler on the Roof. It was a really fun time. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's a recommendation, but I won't spend any time on. But my number one is not streaming for free, but you can rent it for $4 right now. It's called Let's Start a Cult.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my last movie of the year. It's what I watched in 2024. This is starring Stavros Halkias.
Comedian.
Podcaster, comedian, stand-up comedian. He kind of made his claim to fame with like fighting hecklers, essentially. Like not fighting, but like pushing back against hecklers and making a joke out of it. Mm-hmm. He's very sharp on his feet. He's very quick-witted. And his humor is... raunchy's not the word. I mean, it is raunchy, but it's more like trashy.
Yeah.
Like he's like the evil version. It's like a cross between Danny DeVito's character from Always Sunny in Philadelphia and the real life Chris Farley.
Yeah,
you know, because he's a big dude. He's definitely has some physical comedy about him. The joke, a lot of the joke is that he's kind of repulsive and disgusting in a way, which Farley played up sometimes, not nearly as much. That was more like a Belushi thing. But I feel like he's a cross between Paul Walter Hauser and the voice and delivery of Shia LaBeouf. Oh. And a little bit of Paul F. Tompkins, surprisingly,
yeah,
mixed with the body of Chris Farley.
Yeah.
He's a really interesting character. And I was thinking when I started seeing a lot of his stand-up, I was like, I bet you this guy would be good in comedies and movies. And I'm really happy that the first one that he was in was really good, because this movie is so fucking funny. Mm-hmm. Do you know the premise?
Just based off the title alone.
Okay.
Something to do with a cult.
So I'll give as much of it as I can to make it enticing without ruining it. Mm-hmm. But he's essentially the annoying person in a cult.
Oh.
There's like a small cult of like 10 or 12 people, and they're gonna drink the Kool-Aid and ascend to the next level or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he's not the leader of it. He's just one of the people waiting to ascend.
Oh.
But he's just a piece of shit. Like absolute piece of shit. Every opportunity he has to be a piece of shit, he is. He's that annoying guy that no one wants around. Mm-hmm. But somebody's friends with him since high school, and no one has the heart to like kick him out of the friend group or whatever. Mm-hmm. But instead of that being like a friend group they've known forever, he's just a disciple of this weird cult. So the leader is just like, yeah, I need more followers, so whatever, he's here. And they don't make any bones about like hating him either. Mm-hmm. Like they have this like spinning wheel. Like every Tuesday they can go get ice cream from the town or something like that, but only one of them gets to go with the leader. And they have a spinning wheel, much like ours. He's got a tiny little sliver on it that says his name, Chip, and everybody else's is like a third of the whole wheel. Uh-huh. So it's obvious that they don't like him, and how could you? He's just the worst. So when he's going into town to do an errand for them, basically drop off their like manifesto before they all kill themselves, he comes back and they all ascended. They all killed themselves.
Oh.
So he's the only one left of this group, and in his mind, he didn't get to ascend, but he actually just didn't die.
Oh.
And he goes back home to his family, and his family's like, "Oh, Chip, oh, my boy, you've been gone for 2 years. Where have you been?" And he's like, yeah, I've been sumo wrestling professionally in Japan. And they find out that this, the cult makes the news and this mass suicide and all this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I should say this. It's a comedy. It's not really a spoiler. The leader of the cult obviously was a shyster. Uh-huh. He didn't kill himself.
Oh, okay.
He acted like he did, and then he's out like living life, and he tries to find him, and he's like, "Bro, we need to ascend. What the fuck? You guys ascended without me." He still doesn't get it.
Yeah.
And eventually they start a new cult together.
Oh.
And Stavros' character, Chip, ends up becoming the default leader of that cult.
Mm-hmm.
Because his personality is so strong, and he's almost like changing his tendencies to act more like a cult leader,
mm-hmm.
but with the sensibilities of his trash personality. So there's a couple other people I recognize in this, but not much. It's really just him. Joe Pera's in it for a second. Tom Papa.
Oh, does he play himself like Joe Pera?
No.
He plays a different character?
Yes, he plays the new boyfriend of Chip's fiance. No, one of Chip's disciples when it was a new cult. It goes back to this. And the best part about it is all these weird characters in his new cult are so weird. Like they're looking for rejected outcasts of society, and they go to outside the army recruiter's office, and they basically look for people that wouldn't even be taken in the army.
Yeah.
To say, "Oh yeah, you look like you're wandering aimlessly through life, and even the army won't take you. Come hang out with us. We'll show you a new purpose in life." And they pick up this one guy who's dressed in army fatigues, and he's doing push-ups outside of the army place. And I'm like, "What's wrong, man?" "Oh, the army said I don't have what it takes." He's like, "Well, you're already wearing the uniform. You know, they say dress for the job you want, right?" And he just gets down, starts doing push-ups, and you're like, "Is this guy okay?" And the answer is no, he's not okay. So there's a whole cast of characters. There's this whole like regional wrestling retired female wrestler subplot, which is fucking hilarious. There's a extended sex scene with her that's so fucking funny.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing is great, but it is about as hard R as you can get for a comedy.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Very raunchy?
Very raunchy. Like, they drop the C-bomb a couple times, I think, and there's just a lot of like graphic sex jokes and visually graphic sex stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really funny. So it's a comedy, and I was laughing the entire time. How bad can it be?
Right.
So this is $4 streaming on Amazon Prime. It's $5 on YouTube and $6 on Apple TV. So my recommendation is to watch it. It's really fucking funny.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Let's start a cult. That's it.
Cool. I also don't have a lot. I've been gaming.
Me too.
I've been gaming.
I got lost in the sauce in the mines.
Yeah, I've been in Norway pretending to be a Viking. Now I'm in China pretending to be a monkey.
What's the Norway one? What's that?
Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Oh, Valhalla. Okay.
Which was a gigantic game. I finally done with it.
Nice.
And now I started
Monkey King,
Black Myth Wukong.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Which is like a Dark Souls light. It's a lot of boss fights that are difficult, but it's not as punishing as Dark Souls. And it's a really like
it looks visually stunning.
It's a really beautiful looking game, and like because you're just a monkey with like a staff, and it's the gameplay mechanics are much different than like Assassin's Creed. Not as clunky, and you're more free form, and it's more of a linear story. So I didn't need another open world game. I needed something that was guided, and more. I need those invisible walls. Anyway, back to movies. I only watched a few. I rewatched MacGruber again with some friends who hadn't seen it, and funny as always.
Did it land on them?
I don't know. I don't think it was. I don't think, to me anyway, that they thought it was as funny as I thought they were gonna find it.
They didn't have the reaction that you were expecting.
Yeah. And it is kind of like that when you're showing a movie that like, oh, this movie's hilarious, and then you show it somebody like, and then it's like, oh, we don't have the same sense of humor, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Comedies are like that, especially.
I think there's going to be a lot of people that write in and watch Let's Start a Cult and then hate me for that.
MacGruber is just like a Saturday Night Live movie. Will Forte's hilarious, and it's like also
good.
very raunchy.
Yeah.
The celery in the ass, and
They were great fucking guys.
the
This has been an asshole of a day.
the funniest bit to me in that movie is the KFBR 392. It's like
Yes.
it's like the running joke in that, because the guy who drives that car called his car stupid or lame or something.
Yeah.
And it just haunts him, and he has the journal that he's been psychopathically drawing in the license plate of him shitting on the car, and
It's so funny because it goes away. He says it can't be 392, and then you never hear from it again.
Yeah.
When he finds the
journal.
serial killer journal,
Yeah.
you're like, what?
yeah,
And then it comes back a third time,
and he finds the car.
and it's played perfectly too, because he's having an epiphany about the main plot, and he's like, oh my god.
And then it's the car.
Yeah. But he's also having an epiphany about
Yeah.
what's happening at the same time, but he's
Yeah.
also burning the car to the ground.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
I think it happened after he banged his ghost wife
Oh god.
in the cemetery. I'm gonna shoot. So that's MacGruber. That's streaming on Prime. Classic SNL comedy. I watched the new Aardman production, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Fowl, which is a sequel to The Wrong Trousers, the original.
Oh, cool. That's cool.
Starring Feathers McGraw, a penguin who wears a red glove on his head, so everybody thinks he's a chicken.
Very Gary Larson of him.
And the animation's fantastic. It's like, if you go back and watch the original, it's obviously like very early days Aardman, and it has the original has the classic GIF, or not, like, the GIF comes from that of Wallace or Gromit laying down the train tracks.
Oh yes,
I
love that.
as it's going down. And apparently, I read that from one of the filmmakers that it would be very difficult to replicate that effect again, the train tracks and the motion blur and everything, because they're pictures, right? And they're stopped. It's stop motion. So how do you do motion blur in a still frame? Like, are the characters themselves made to look like they're motion blurred?
I don't think the character would be blurring; it'd be the background though.
Yeah,
because it's locked. The camera's locked down on the character.
How do you?
You have to make the background look blurry.
Yeah, and like, it's not even just like regular, like out of focus. It's like motion blur.
It's have to have the
like
streaks.
a horizontal.
Yeah, like
motion.
Horizontal. What do they call that? Warping.
Yeah. But Vengeance Must Fowl takes place pretty much literally right after the original one ends, where the penguin gets captured he's trying to steal like this blue stone, this gem, and it ends with him going into like an aquarium or like a zoo, and he's in what do they call it, an exhibit.
Yeah.
And then it starts from there, and it shows like how he escapes. And Wallace's new invention is this little gnome that does yard work. It's a lawn gnome that does yard work for you.
Oh, okay.
And he proceeds to it's like an AI gnome, basically.
Okay.
And
I've seen him on the cover. It looks creepy.
It proceeds to he starts a business, and like a landscaping business, and he makes more of these gnomes. And the Feathers McGraw, he essentially turns that gnome into like evil gnome. And so they're going up against these army of evil AI gnomes. And there's a lot of dry humor. It's British. There's one joke in it where Wallace has a computer and he has secret files that you need a password to access. Feathers McGraw is trying to get into it, and there's a little animation that plays when he gets into it of Wallace, like an 8-bit Wallace, and it goes, "Welcome to my secret files." Yeah, it's just a wholesome, good time streaming on Netflix. Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Fowl.
Glad to hear it's good, because I really have a soft spot for that.
Yeah, Aardman's apparently they at one point were running out of clay for Wallace or Gromit, one of the two.
Yes.
I don't know if that's still accurate. And then this next one, also streaming on Netflix, it just dropped this year. Deanna, there's a little history with this one.
Okay.
So it's a documentary miniseries about Jerry Springer's show called Jerry Springer Fights Camera Action. It's a 2-episode miniseries, and I say there's a little history with it because Deanna would watch these shows when she lived at home because they just had like standard cable.
Sure, yeah.
And it was like middle of the day, Maury, Jerry Springer, Steve Wilkos.
I didn't know that Deanna was a standard cable gal. I don't know if we could be friends anymore.
Yeah, she grew up in PBS.
Oh, fuck. That's it. We're not talking ever again.
So this Jerry Springer had passed away in 2023, and this isn't like about him specifically. It's just it's more about the producers of Jerry Springer and what they did to basically incite the reactions.
Okay,
you got
interesting. So it's more about the production of
and Jerry Springer's obviously he is in the show, and you see him, and they kind of talk about his part in the his complacency, I guess.
Yeah.
And so he had responsibility as well, and they talk about his history. He was a news anchor. He was a councilman before this, and
councilman. Interesting.
He wanted to be I think he wanted to be in politics, but this is the route that he ended up going.
Politics. Is there any difference anymore?
Yeah. Nowadays, I don't know. And it was very interesting to see the behind the scenes of this show, because when you watch the show, you always see like, let's bring out Lisa, and she comes out hot, all ready to fight. Like that's how the guests usually come out, right?
Yeah.
And then they immediately start fighting. But then they show, and they film this. They film the producers talking to these guests and like hyping them up, like you're roughing up revving up a dog.
Okay.
They're like rehearsing with them. It's like, no, tell me how you really feel about her. Like, she needs to know how you think about her. And so like the producers pretending to be the other person they're confronting. And so they'll like, the guest will be like, will react in a way, well, I don't care, I'm going to leave now. And they're like, no, you have, like, you care. She needs to know how much you hate her, how much you hate her for cheating on you and for doing this. And they really get them just like riled up.
They're laying the tracks to get the reaction they want.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. I'm not surprised. But.
And there's like a main producer, like the lead producer of the show, and he's kind of like a scumbag, and he doesn't hide it. He's almost proud of it. There's one point in the show, in his interview, where he's like, if I was allowed to, I would execute a person on live television.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he's pretty fucked up. And then there's two producers that there's like 2 or 3 producers that are like, yeah, we needed to find these stories, and otherwise like we would be fired. Like weekly. Like we needed to find like these crazy stories,
insane people. So the people were real.
Yeah, it was,
for the most part.
That's what it never said anything about it being staged, other than like the news saying like it's faked, but like it's not. They didn't say it was faked. It was more just like heavily exaggerated and embellished.
Okay.
And then there's another part of the story where it was like a love triangle. It was like a guy and 2 women. He was in a relationship with one, and then left her. He was abusive, left, like they separated or divorced or whatever. And then he went with somebody else, another woman. And then they are all on the show. And then after they did the show, like a month later, that guy killed one of them.
Damn.
Yeah. And then he was eventually arrested and sentenced. A little bit of a spoiler there, but it was on, I didn't even know about this, and it was on the TV show, and everybody looked to Jerry Springer as being responsible, as like being partly responsible for like,
interesting
for like that happening. It was kind of depressing in some aspect, but it was a very very interesting and like eye-opening kind of documentary about this show.
That is pretty interesting.
And
where's that streaming?
It's on Netflix. It's only 2 episodes.
Cool.
Each episode's less than an hour. It's like 45 minutes each. So if you're interested in that, it's entertaining for sure, and it's produced well. It's the interviews are like just like production wise, you know, they're
nice. That's cool. That sounds interesting. Yeah,
setting is good. So yeah, just Wallace and Gromit. Both on Netflix. Wallace and Gromit and Jerry Springer. Fights, camera action, and MacGruber on Prime.
Cool.
And that's all I got.
Beautiful.
Tyler? Nothing.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Let me just cut to him. Tyler?
Yeah, I learned a new word today. Big whoop. What about it?
I guess Tyler didn't
I'm
watch
your
anything.
host, Outrageous Tyler.
You are right. You're outrageous, Tyler.
You are outrageous.
You're a crazy guy.
Okay, cool. I guess let's wrap this up. And if you're on the live stream, we're going to be doing, there's still a few people in the chat still.
Yeah.
No one's really commenting, but they're there. That's okay.
Yeah, what the? No, I'm just kidding. We're just happy you're here.
Yeah, we're happy you're here and watching. But we're going to be back in probably about 20 minutes or so. We're going to be reviewing Mystery Men. That's Joseph's pick from the Wheel of Destiny. And I'm sad to hear Tyler's unbridled opinion about this, because I know after he listens to this episode, he's going to have our opinion about it.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to know what he really thinks about Mystery Men, because I think this is an interesting movie. But if you're not watching on the live stream, or you're catching this later on the weekly release, we'll be back in a couple days with the review. But in the meantime, thank you to our cool ass yard duties over on Patreon. That's Javier, Heather, Michael, Steven, and Chris. And if you want to support us, you can do so at patreon.com/middleclassfilmclass, or just watch or listen on the YouTube page. That helps too. Until next time. Thank you for joining us as we gab and chatter. Just Joseph and I and chatbot AI Tyler over there, the glowing orb of light.
He was replaced with chatbot.
That's right. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/MCFC podcast, and send us an email, mcfcpodcast@gmail.com.
And leave us a voicemail at 209-283-1716. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Middle Class Film Class, and on Twitter at Podcast MCFC.
More importantly, go to the YouTube page. If you're not there, you're missing out. That's where we'd like you to be watching and listening. It is an easy way to support the show without having to spend a dime. All right, we'll see you next time.
See ya! Welcome to my secret files.
Class dismissed.
I gotta get out of here. The bell doesn't dismiss you. I dismiss you.
You're free to go.
See you next week. See you later. See you later. That's a wrap.
Great show.